What's up, everybody? It's your boy Heems, and guys, we are back with another reaction video. Today, guys, we get to check out for more on Dead Space is how a single scene was created through IGN's first look. But guys, before we go further, if you like the videos, you love the reactions, you love the streams, make sure you hit that like button for your boy. Don't forget to subscribe to your boy at HeemsCast Gaming. Share the videos, share the channel, raid, host, all are welcome and greatly appreciated. To anybody want to catch me stream, guys, we're back at 6 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Late starts are between 6:15 and 6:30 p.m. Weekends are open schedule, so anything goes. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Trovo, and D Live. I stream on all 5 platforms at the exact same time. Reaction videos are as early as 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. With give or take between 2 as a minimum to 5 or 6, give or take, depending on the work schedule, guys. With my current work schedule, guys, for this week, guys, I work between like 4 to 6 days this week, including doubles and overtime. So that being said, guys, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and Snapchat for updates and more. Give or take, depending on that flow, it may affect how we stream or how we do everything else. But guys, more on the YouTube community as well. Without further ado, let's relive the madness once again. That is Dead Space.
The Dead Space Remake is a faithful recreation of the 2008 sci-fi horror classic. Well, mostly faithful. EA Motive has seen,
and they even added, what I like about it already, they're still making a lot of references from the previous game and they're adding to it. It's not just, it's a sense of like they're remaking and putting spins, but they still put in stuff that gives fans in the past like a reminder of what they remember playing through the first playthrough.
The opportunity to improve on the original, and so some sequences play out differently.
Even the hallway looks much more cleaner.
Is the moment in which protagonist Isaac Clarke watches a corpse transform into a necromorph for the first time. If you're unfamiliar with it, here are the talented developers to explain the scene.
In the original version, it was a lot more toned down.
Isaac comes into the morgue, and then an infector comes through the vents, attacks the body, converts him to necromorph, and it bursts through the glass and attacks Isaac.
But that's an opportunity where we wanted to make.
And you couldn't really tell at the time, like when it happened, I couldn't tell like if this was like a new level of a necromorph. It was just like, you just automatically like, okay, kill it. But like you didn't understand anything else other than that this thing could transform them into others and the necromorphs.
It could feel a lot more interactive, and we wanted to make it feel more immersive.
In our version, you come in and there's actually a door, so you actually go into the autopsy room itself.
There's a very like low fog. It's kind of eerie.
Yeah.
You enter the room where he's at.
He rolls the body over to retrieve the rig on the captain's back.
I like that.
And as he's removing his rig,
boom.
An infector falls from the ceiling.
The infector is now infecting the captain, and which is the catalyst that begins the full transformation.
And then the captain starts to transform into this elite slasher.
All his clothes started to pee, started to transform into flesh.
You're seeing all manner of goo and goop and disgusting transformation in front of the camera.
As it's screaming at Isaac, he uses kinesis, grabs a fire extinguisher, clocks it across the head, and manages to get up.
And then we move from there into gameplay.
I like that. That's a better setup, and it gives a more in-depth look how that works.
The sequence was created. We spoke to several members of the Dead Space team to explore their roles in bringing the moment to life. That started, of course, with the original scene, alongside a core concept: how to make it even more immersive.
There's a lot of scenes in the original Dead Space that happen behind glass, and there's a reason for that in a lot of cases. But where possible, we want to bring that action out. It kind of leads into the through line of telling the story of what the necromorphs are. What are these things? Where do they come from? Oh, they're transformed corpses.
This is the first time we're seeing a full transformation. We wanted to make sure we conveyed just how bloody, disturbing those transformations could be.
It's also possible to miss that transformation in the original. You could walk into the morgue and just be like, oh, well, I'm gonna look at what's over there. It also means that a crucial piece of information can get lost, which is these things are transformed corpses. You see bodies on the floor and you feel compassion for them. And now everybody on the floor is a potential threat.
that's one of the things that from day one we wanted to have a lot more in the game.
And one thing I noticed too, like they don't just sit there and like dismember the limbs like from before. You're actually peeling off skin before you actually can sever that limb, and I like that. That's a new little feature. Makes the game a little bit more challenging, but definitely nice.
This would be a good opportunity to do that in that scene, where you actually get to see the captain transforming, and then really surprising the player.
With all the goals of the scene established, it was now the job of the narrative team to come up with the exact step-by-step actions of both Isaac and his necromorph foe. The plan was for this version of the scene to better communicate the terror of being confronted by a freshly transformed necromorph, as well as improve the portrayal of Isaac and his capabilities.
We want to bring this scene out from behind the glass. Okay, well then how does that look like? How does that feel? How do we want the player to feel? How do we want Isaac to be seen? So kind of with that in mind, I talked with Joel McMillan a little bit about it. Obviously he's going to be disarmed in that moment, but obviously Isaac's never completely disarmed. He has kinesis, and it was immediately a really great sort of visual of him, even when he's sort of helpless, to grab that fire extinguisher and go for it. And it was a really good chance to kind of show how quick thinking he is, even in, I don't know about you, but I'd be pretty paralyzed in that kind of moment.
I began blocking down some storyboards. I had some movements in my mind that I really wanted to see the captain go throughout his transformation. I had I got, just in my own home, we're all working through COVID, so we're all at home. So I had my girlfriend take photos of me acting out the transformation. I would sketch over those with the limbs of the slasher, because I didn't have the same amount of appendages as a slasher would. So I'd have to draw in the arms and show where the animation would be going on those arms and where.
And the drawings look good, and it looks dead on from like him doing the picture and the transformation to how he was actually able to relate that to them putting that into the studio. That was nice.
Weight was and all that kind of thing.
There's a lot of back and forth with them about what we want that scene to be. Every scene is an opportunity to develop Isaac's character, show who he is, as well as really getting that terror of a necromorph transforming inches away from your face.
Moving Isaac into the room and just inches away from Captain Matthias would mean players would see every single movement in detail. To achieve results that would stand up to such close scrutiny, this entire sequence needed to be performance captured. But this wouldn't be a simple sequence, as one of the actors would somehow need to become a corpse with blades for arms.
We went through and choreographed that through photographs and sketches on top of that to get the general staging and choreography of the scene laid out. Then from that, the talented team of animators started to block that in 3D using our rough models that we have on the project at the time.
I think aside from doing the scripts, honestly, I think the most fun was the PCAP, because we had a lot of fun putting that scene together. The two performers that we had really got into it. They actually spent a long time kind of working together, kind of figuring out the logistics. Okay, you're going to do this, and I'm going to turn this way and come. And it was actually really fun to watch that come together.
And I like that little feature they just sat there and showed too, like when he was actually trying to put away the plasma gun, and to have somebody basically walk in and basically remove, so it looks as though he actually equipped it versus still being in the middle of the scene.
And watch them work. Yeah, the Infector was the theatre of the imagination, and Noshir, because he's a very experienced mocap actor, he was able to mime the corpse being attacked, and then we were able to bring it in later. That scene actually cost Noshir's arm extenders. That scene when he comes down and brings the slasher blade comes down, that actually broke one of Noshir's arm extenders.
To make this scene work as the team envisioned, the camera would need to be uncoupled from its usual over-the-shoulder position and move around Isaac and the necromorph. Thankfully, EA's in-house engine was able to be adapted to the team's needs.
In order to show just how disgusting and visceral and horrific that sequence could be, we needed to get that camera as close as possible to the captain. And so this sequence was also a test bed for decoupling the camera from Isaac's shoulder and trying to find our camera language. What is our camera behavior and camera language going to be when it's not player controlled on the back of Isaac's shoulder?
With the performance capture data and tools ready, it was time for the art and cinematic teams to put the scene together. Because there's no dialogue, all focus would be on the visuals, and so the artist worked hard to ensure every element of both Isaac and his gruesome foe were rendered in the most realistic way possible.
We started from the actual characters, making sure that all the detail is there and that would hold up to the camera, because you would see it up close.
So we would often say it should look like a bowl of soup that's being poured out onto Isaac's lap. And then, this is where the limb would stretch and break and then turn into a spike and hoist his weight. This is where the jaw should, swing and drop off. And so we went through and in layers like that and built in every single piece of detail that we could think of.
It was really important to show well the transformation and to keep also this idea that everything is seamless. So it was really a good way for us to be very close, to the action, to show very well, how those necromorphs appear, and to keep the player always in control and engaged as much as we can.
That desire for a seamless transformation meant that there was no way that the captain's model could be swapped out for a necromorph. That corpse had to morph into a space zombie in real time. But thanks to the game's new peeling system, the art team had everything they needed to create a realistic transformation scene.
Whether it's that transformation or any other necromorph in the game, we started from scratch. We started from the base layer, building the skeletal system that's accurate to that character. And then we built the muscles, the layers of fat, sinew, bones, all of that stuff is built layer by layer.
It's night and day compared to when this game was first developed. Like, it was so many limitations to when they sat there and made this game and when it was released in 2000 and I believe 8. If I'm not mistaken, to anybody out there, please correct me if I have the wrong date. But this was definitely around the time between that and Resident Evil 5 coming out, and to where they are today, to be able to actually perform the transformation and do it perfectly. Because it seemed like, looking back on now, like everything was kind of rushed or just put together with the limitations that they had. But like now they can really get more in depth, because it was even able to break out of the third person camera to really give you a more in-depth experience as far as how the transformation takes place, to even Isaac's disposition and where he's at that time and feeling helpless and all.
So that in the game, depending on the weapon you use, you get to dismember
them
in
oh, that's some scary stuff.
That you want to.
All the way down to the skeleton.
Part was making sure that it holds up, because you do get to see it quite close. The rest of the game, you'll usually dismember the necromorphs at a distance, but in this one, it really was up close and personal. So all of that had to work perfectly. The timing of it, the lighting, the effects, animation, the entire scene had to look flawless.
Beneath all that artwork is a serious amount of technology, and the technical team worked in parallel with the art team to ensure that all of the animations would play out flawlessly.
We can do a massive mesh swap there to allow for the transformation itself to happen on top of Isaac. You know, the captain falling onto Isaac, that whole camera's like going to the floor and coming back. There's a mesh swap happening there so that we can have the proper transform happen. So there's cool tech behind it, but a lot of it, like I said early on, is the animation team did a massive job of just animating and going pixel perfect on what they wanted for the transformation. It was a question of us making sure that we can afford it in that context.
The bond between art and technology is what makes this scene possible, but it's the smaller elements that really make the moment come alive. Like everywhere else in the Dead Space remake, there's much more detail in this scene than there was in the original version.
When you remove the rig, from the captain, it's kind of some clips that you detach from the back. Suddenly, for me, it gives in imagination a logic of, okay, it's logical. It's attached by clips, and you can remove it like this. It feels like natural and logic. Some kind of little detail, that don't have big value, but that ground a bit, the fantasy of everything. So I really appreciate those little details.
I really love how they got all the uniforms shredding off his back.
Yeah.
And there's a really it's a really good moment when Isaac sort of hits the floor and kind of the low-lying fog on the floor as the more kind of billows away.
As with every individual moment in every video game, the final result is the product of people working together. For the team at EA Motive, it was exciting to see all of their individual contributions combine to create such a gruesome and effective scene.
From day one, it was one of the things that we wanted to have more of that in the remake. It felt very satisfying to actually see a transformation so up close.
So it's a good mix of witnessing the transformation, being fascinated by what you see, and knowing that, okay, you need to act very soon. So I think this moment was really well done.
It is a team effort. All I do is just work with the team and help them, guide them, but they did all the work, and I'm super proud of them.
So it comes down to what I like best about working in games is just working with a lot of different people and different kind of mindsets. It's a challenge, but it's also very rewarding once you solve it.
I feel that sequence retains the original vision the closest of any of the sequences we have in the game, and there's a ton of very elaborate sequences in the game. But that one, from start to finish, retained the core vision as closely as possible.
For more from Dead Space, check out how the EA Motive team rebuilt the game's iconic guns and rewrote the story. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
Man, they honestly, hands down, did a good job getting this to be redone. And sometimes you look for something that's just new, something that's different, just original. But when you have this type of technology and how much we've progressed over the years to where we are now and what we're capable of doing or rendering it as now, it's so beautiful and it's worth it to go through this. Like, honestly, I'm glad that they picked back up with Dead Space. I don't know what this will mean, if whether or not they're going to also remake the second and the third. I can only pray and hope that they do. And maybe, just maybe, we might get a Dead Space 4, maybe an alteration to the ending of 3 if they choose to take on those projects. But for the time being, it will still be just as lit to see this and for them to put that much detail into the transformation in that moment. Because when that captain first happened, it scared you, but like, I don't know, like it didn't really like have as much of a factor or as an impact. Whereas with them now adding this little cutscene to the transformation to Isaac, you know, basically being pinned to the ground, to there being, they really put a lot of time and effort into this to really make this more submersive, and for them to be able to break out of that third person was something else as well. So honestly, I can't wait for this game to come out. To anybody out there, let me know what you think. What did you think of this video? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy my commentary? Did you enjoy my reactions? If you enjoyed all of that, make sure you hit the like button for your boy. Don't forget to subscribe to your boy at Heemscast Gaming, and don't forget to drop them suggestions below and let your boy know exactly what you would like to see. To everybody, it's your boy Heemscast Gaming signing out. I'll see you guys soon with more content. To everybody out there, peace till the next video.